Hey guys, Dr. Ray, Chiropractic Plus, and we're going to talk about something. It's called carpal tunnel syndrome, all right? Now, but actually, before we get moving, make sure you hit the like and subscribe buttons so you constantly get our material. And it's important to share and tag people so we can get this information out to the masses, because we can help the suffering population and start focusing on helping humanity just by caring about others. So pay this forward by sharing this video. So let's talk about carpal tunnel. Now, carpal tunnel is right here. Now, the tunnel is formed by the outside, inside your hand, and the roof is right here in the center. So that's actually the tunnel right there. Now, oftentimes we do things that are in push motions, whether it's typing, texting, doing chiropractic adjustments. It's constantly in a state of push. And what can happen is that the bones in your wrist can actually misalign, drop, and compress on the nerves that control your hand. Now, carpal tunnel classic, it affects these three fingers and a little bit of this one. You know that's the median nerve in the wrist. Now, the most common treatment medically is to do what's called a retinacular release. They actually cut the base of the tunnel and make room for the nerve, which oftentimes is effective, ineffective. Let's say it is effective. Well, the problem is when you cut in an area, that creates scar tissue and gristle, and then over time, you're a piece of steak that's been very tough. That's what happens. It builds up and then the problem returns and you're worse off than when you started. Now, the other problem you have is oftentimes what I tend to see in our office is not an exclusive carpal tunnel, but a multiple, ready for the big words, multiple peripheral entrapment neuropathy. Say that 6 times really fast. Now, what does that mean? Well, multiple damages. I call it 100 little fat kids on a garden hose, okay? So when you think about a pinched nerve, everybody thinks about, okay, there's the garden hose, you kink it, and the flowers die way over there. Well, guess what? Sometimes it's not just one kink, like what we're talking about here. Oftentimes, in fact, I'd say the majority of the time, I see entrapment in multiple areas. So we have a bunch of kids sitting on the garden hose, all right? So we have to knock these kids off at multiple areas to allow the free flow of the water to get to the flowers. Now the flowers happen to be the fingers, okay, in this case. So where can we get entrapment? We get entrapment in the neck. The spine can become misaligned, causing compression of the nerve. Now when that occurs, it then exits the neck right here on what are called the anterior and posterior scalene muscles. Very simple, those muscles contract and spasm and crush the nerve. It drops under the collarbone, and now we've got what's called a costo, meaning rib, clavicular syndrome. First rib and collarbone, boom, traps the nerve. After it tucks under the collarbone, it then tucks under a muscle in your chest called the pectoralis minor, hence the name pectoralis minor syndrome, okay? And then it goes down into your elbow, so you can have the funny bone area, that's an ulnar neuropathy. We can have a entrapment in your forearm called a pronator teres syndrome. And again, that's just that's the majority we see all the time. So if you get all those little fat kids on the garden hose, you're going to lose your finger control. Well, if you take all the little fat kids off the garden hose, guess what? The body starts to free flow and you resolve those problems. So carpal tunnel syndrome, more than just carpal tunnel syndrome, but at its minimum, it's a problem in the wrist. Still, we adjust the bones in the wrist. We reduce the spasm in the pronator teres. We adjust the elbow. We adjust the collarbone and first rib. We adjust the neck to get it lined up, soften the muscles in the neck, soften the muscles in the pectoralis. So bottom line is, best place to be is in our office for a corrective chiropractic adjustment. Remember, share, and if you're interested, dial the number 303-254-8430. You can also text that number now. So I want an appointment, or I want to share this with a friend, and we can take care of that for you. Guys, thanks for listening.